Taste Manager, and today I have with me two people from the charity Fifth Sense, which is the charity for people affected by smell and taste disorders. So I'd like to introduce Duncan Boak, who's founder and chair of Fifth Sense, and his colleague Nina Hill, who is the Director of Development and Operations. Welcome both, and thank you very much for joining us today.
So the starting point for me was losing my sense of smell through a traumatic brain injury in 2005 when I was 22 years old. And, you know, this is something that altered my experience and quality of life in all sorts of ways that I didn't really understand and comprehend properly for years after the accident, because I'd never had any understanding of the sense of smell, what it does for us, what it contributes to our lives when I did have it. It's something that we're not really taught about at school. There's very little understanding or appreciation of the sense of smell amongst most of us, really. And I suppose the motivation for starting the charity, that partly came from the fact that when I had the accident, I went to see my doctor and said, I've had a really bad brain injury. I'm lucky to be alive. I can't smell anymore. What can you tell me? And my doctor couldn't tell me anything. It was this response. His response was, we don't know much about it. This is very rare. I have heard of this happening to people, but that's all I can tell you. There was no one my GP could signpost me to. And in 2012, I decided to create it. Fifth Sense is the charity for people affected by smell and taste disorders, and we provide support, information to others affected by a problem with their sense of smell or taste, and also, importantly, a signpost to potential diagnosis and treatment where such exists. We've got a network of clinicians, consultant ear, nose and throat surgeons, one of whom is our fellow trustee, Carl Philpott, who runs the UK's first NHS smell and taste disorder clinic. And it's with Carl who I connected in late 2011 and started talking. And that's when the idea for the charity came about.
So the pathways into any healthcare, I mean, as you'll know, are through the GP. And so when people do contact us to explain that they're experiencing differences or changes or loss of smell and taste, it is through their GP that they would access any specialist input. I guess, and again, like anything in the NHS, it's a little bit of a postcode lottery in terms of where you live in the country as to what tertiary and specialist centres you have access to. But it's not exclusive. So if a GP or a commissioning group agreed for somebody who lived in Cumbria to go to Newcastle, then that would be okay, for example. I mean, I guess our aim is to educate GPs that treatment is available, that there are specialist centres and ENT consultants who have an interest in smell and taste that can be contacted and referred to.
It's like being stuck behind a pane of glass. You can feel that you're an observer on your own life, if you like. You can see and hear and touch, but there's this removal of this incredibly important layer of experience, emotional experience and emotional richness that smell brings, whether it's smelling the flowers in your garden, whether it's being in bed next to your partner and the smell of their skin, smell of their hair that tells you it's them next to you and no one else. And it's the smells that surround us and enter us and fill our brains and our memories, daily. Having that suddenly taken away has a really big impact on people. There are some things that, when prompted, and if I give myself the time and space to think about it, I can still recall. And a few years ago, we've done some work with the University of Florida Center for Smell and Taste in Gainesville, Florida. And we've done a couple of events in partnership with them in the US, aimed at people in the States affected by smell and taste disorders. And I've worked very closely with their director, Steve Munger, in organising events. And I remember in the run-up to the first one, and I was on the phone to Steve, and he was talking about where we were going to hold the meal after the first day of the conference. And it was in the Natural History Museum. And I was looking at the website, and he was talking to me about the butterfly garden. And I had this really, really vivid recall of the smell that you get when you go to somewhere like Kew Gardens or an indoor space where you've got damp, you've got peaty soil. You know, it's that really sort of specific smell. And that just came back to me, and it was like it was there again. And I sort of thought, that is something, that is a smell memory that is absolutely imprinted on one sort of environment and one sort of environment only for me. And it came back, and it was like it was there again. And you know, when these moments happen, it's really, really quite powerful. So I might not be able to smell the smell, but I can still access it. I can still access the memory.